If I were to like put a list together of the top 5 questions that I get most often, this particular question is probably in there, but it's not worded the same every time. It's how hard should I be throwing? I'm X years old and I'm this tall, this much I weigh, like whatever. But how hard should I be throwing? Like, holy smokes, I need to do a video on this. And the only reason I haven't done a video on this or haven't done a blog on this is because it's so annoying that I don't really want to freaking talk about it. Okay. There is one thing that I have done on it, and I don't remember where it is or where it went, but it's as simple as how hard you should be throwing is a literal, like, just point for you to figure that out on your own by comparing yourself with, and it's funny because I usually don't say compare yourself with anyone, but compare yourself with other people that you're competing against. Right? And a lot of the questions are usually coming from like 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. So I know y'all play around like, or you train or you play against like other people in that age group. Like all you got to do is compare yourself. Like if little Timmy, the 15-year-old, is the best pitcher in the league, and he's the best pitcher in the league because he throws harder than everyone, and you're not like constantly kind of comparing and being like, okay, well, he's probably going to go to like a D1 school, you know, he's already getting offers. Like that's a really good person to look at and be like, all right, well, he throws that hard at that age, I'm going to shoot for that. Now, the only thing that I say that like is tough is the discouragement at that age, right? Because we're dealing with teenagers who are very sensitive. So anytime that they perceive themselves at such a lower like competition level, and then their goals are like up here, there's this huge gap of discouragement. So it's never, I'll never put a number on an age. Like I'll answer some that I'm like, okay, well, hey, I got drafted out of high school, so like here's where my velos were, right? So when I was 13, I got clocked at like 83. But again, when I was 13, I was like this height, like I don't know. And then I didn't get clocked again. I went to a small school. I didn't get clocked again until I was 16, and I was like 86, 88, and then bumped up to at 17. I would like hit 90. 91, and then 18, I was up to like 95. Now, that was me. I also think that people throw way harder these days. And not to mention, the individual needs to understand what his goal is, so then he can better compare with other people. Meaning, if your goal is to get drafted out of high school, then you obviously need to be put in the upper echelon words of like your competition, right? Now D1, I would say the same thing, upper echelon. Now D2, it gets lower and lower, right? Now if you want to play high school ball to have fun, or if you want to have cool like bragging rights about how hard you throw, then like it's going to keep getting lower. But you constantly need to be evaluating your goals and then stacking up your performance with your goals, right? And then that's how you decide what work to do in the sense of like, okay, is this thing that I'm doing for my training going to better equip me to reach those goals? Now, y'all, especially like the 15-year-olds that ask me these questions, 14-year-olds that ask me these questions, you guys have so much access to information these days with a computer or a phone or whatever. It's not hard to like Google hardest throwing 15-year-olds in the class of whatever the class that is. And I'm almost guarantee you that the Perfect Game website will have like 14-year-olds velo. Now again, if your goal is to be freaking drafted out of high school or D1 college, like then those are the people that you need to be stacking up against. Like it's right there. I think that's something that I was talking about last time I answered a question similar to this that was talking about how hard do I need to throw to go to a D1 school? And I'm like, that question's way easier because you type in literally any school and they give like a scouting report for the player, for the pitcher. So it's like, oh, okay, he was throwing that hard at that time. And take it a step further, dude. We have Instagram, and everyone's on Instagram. You could literally Google like the top like college recruits, get 30 of them, follow them on Instagram, and shoot them a DM, and just have your odds of like, you know, is one out of the 30 going to respond and be like, hey, how hard were you throwing at this age? But yeah, there's obviously no right answer, but I think a lot of it has to do with what your goal is, and then yeah, it's such a tough answer, because again, with baseball and with throwing velocity, people are going to peak at different ages, right? Like the story that I'll always go to is like when I first met Glass, Tyler Glasnow, pitcher for the Rays, was when he was 18, and it was his first full season in the Pittsburgh organization. And he was like, I'm not kidding, the first outing that I saw him throw, he was like 88, 92. So like he didn't have his big jolt of velocity until like he was 18, 19 years old. Whereas like I had mine at like, what, 15, 16? I don't remember. But there's always that too. And then there's the things that people have it at like 30 because they just, something clicks from a mechanical. There's so much to it, man. But all right, in recap, how hard should you be throwing? Well, measure yourself up against the local talent first. Now, if you're obviously superior, then measure yourself up with the regional, state, the world, everything. Like you have the information at your fingertips to do that. But do not get discouraged because you never know when that one thing is going to click for you and you could skyrocket. Don't get discouraged. Control what you can control. I'm getting a phone call. Talk to you guys later.